Sorry. Good evening, everyone. My name is Kayla Boone, and I will be talking about using music as a tool. So in 2017, it should have been the one of the best years of my life. I had just graduated from Hampton University with my bachelor's in journalism. I had a few job offers lined up. So everything seemed like it was going great. But mentally, I was in a disarray. I had went I had went to a traditional therapist before, and it didn't seem to work for me. So I talked to my mom about it, and I said, "Mom, I'm going through these things and I need help, but I don't know what I should do." So she suggested that I go seek a poetry therapist. Um, Aside from being a journalist, I write music, so it was right up my alley with the things that I already like to do. So as mental health became something more important to me, I continued my research. And in my research, I found this stat that 1 in 5 adults suffer from a diagnosable mental illness in a given year. But the key word for me was diagnosable. So this stat is large, but imagine how much bigger it is for the people that aren't diagnosed with the mental illness. So those were the people that I wanted to help. I wanted to help individuals like me who were seeking help, but didn't want to seek it the traditional way, using traditional therapy or psychotherapy, as it's called. My goals were to present music as a viable alternative to psychotherapy and to create a product that enables consumers to understand and manage their mental health through music. So when the pandemic happened, I reached out to several creatives because not only to check on their mental health and what they were doing, but I also wanted different ideas in which I could help other people. I titled it The Creative Kinfolk, kinfolk meaning family, and family always sticks together. So at the top, we have Don. Don's a photographer and he deals with anxiety. He often gets anxious when he's thinking about his own stresses. So instead of traditional therapy, Don uses photography to take the focus off of his anxiety and instead focuses his lens on beautiful things. Next, we have Ty. Ty's a producer at BET Digital. Whenever she feels something in her personal life is falling apart, she uses her work as a producer to put the pieces together. For example, at the time of this interview, she had gotten laid off and she worked on storyboarding her next project. And lastly, we had Ernst. Ernst is a DJ for Hot 97. When I spoke to him, he was mourning the loss of his mom. So instead of using psychotherapy, he went all in with practicing his sets. And when I realized that Ernst, along with myself, was using music as a way to cope and deal with our mental health, I thought that that was the way to go. So over the summer, I interned with the Washington City paper. Like I said, I had music in mind the whole way through. I knew that I didn't want this internship to just be what they wanted me to do, but what I wanted to do as well. So I knew that somehow I had to get music into this. I began, aside from speaking with my supervisor, I spent a lot of time talking to the arts and entertainment editor, and anything that came across her desk that dealt with music, she sent it to me. So I got to create a playlist during the times of all of the riots, and George Floyd had just been murdered and the protests with Breonna Taylor. So I created this playlist to basically commemorate the time and celebrate Blackness. So like I quoted here, I created a playlist highlighting several artists from the DMV area. So this playlist was specific to the DMV, who speak to the importance of peace, community, and the beauty of Blackness through song. Then focusing back on the individuals that don't want to use psychotherapy and want to use a creative outlet, I created this website. On this website lives a survey and different playlists. But knowing that we're doing engagement journalism and social journalism, I needed to engage with other users. So this survey basically it asks several different questions. One, what genre of music do you most frequently listen to? Do you have a savior song? Who's your favorite artist? So the question, do you have a savior song, was the biggest question here. And this was the question that helped me create a bunch of different playlists. So here's the playlists that were created from the question, the savior song question. Basically, I had 31 people respond to my playlist, and it helped me create this. So these were some of the responses that I got from the survey that I created. Basically asking, the question was, how do you feel about music being a tool for mental health? And the different answers were, I would try it, it's extremely necessary. Music is the best therapy for some, and others, it may make their mood worse. Like I said, 31 survey responses. With the Washington City Paper playlist that I did, I had 22 playlist followers, which was the most out of all of the playlists that they had. And from the surveys that I created, I created two playlists. Initially, I only planned on creating one, so two is better than one. In the end, this is one of my favorite quotes, and it stands to be true that music is the universal language of mankind. I obviously was able to reach people through music, and it's proven in my metrics. The takeaways is small impact is still impact. Even though I only had 31 people do my survey, I think that I'll make a great impact with the playlist that I was able to create. The biggest thing was to get out of my own way. I'm always nervous about things. Like even right now, I'm nervous, but I know that this is something that I want to do and something that I have to do to get my purpose out. And there's so much power in your influence. I know that after doing my video series, my brain was sparked by a bunch of other creatives, and I hope that I'm doing the same for someone else. Lastly, my future plans is to complete the mixtape. Before the pandemic happened, the product that I wanted to produce was a mixtape, but the pandemic held that up. So to continue that, I want to revamp the website that you saw. I want to continue creating playlists, and I want to go back to school again, but I want to focus on mental health in the psychology realm and not as a journalist. And lastly, does anybody have any questions? I'm finished. Thank you all for listening.